Hello! Yes, it is not Sunday. It is a different night. Hopefully you can hear me all right, because I've gone for the boom mic tonight because I need my hands free for what we're going to be doing tonight. However, hello! Yes, it feels like it's been a while for me, and whilst I streamed last week, I haven't sat in this chair more than twice in the last 2 weeks, and I'm out of the game a little bit. I'm a bit out of practice. I decided to take a little bit of time off for varying reasons, for my health, because it hasn't been great. But also, still not great, I'll add. I seem to have picked a man flu, but also we had some stuff going on at home as well, and I haven't actually recorded a video. Might be 3 weeks. The one I put out this week, I had already had in the can. I just couldn't even be bothered to set it live. But I did that this week. But I did do the stream last Sunday and the Sunday before. But yes. So tonight we are going to finally be dealing with these. And I will talk a bit more about this. I did talk about them on the stream. But we will talk a bit about these. If for those who have watched, we did do the video on these goggles when I bought them. We bought them damaged, for those who don't know. We then found that there was a problem with the PCB. We then found that the board wasn't available. We then found that CaddX had apparently told me the wrong information. I then had CaddX reach out to me and apologize and said, hey, we'll send you a board and we'll also send you a set of Goggles X as compensation for our error. And I said, well, I don't want the Goggles X. I'll give them away on the channel, though. And they said, okay, those Goggles X and that board never arrived. But in the meantime, the guys at Fatshark and Rotor Riot reached out and have sent me a replacement board. Now, we're going to fit this tonight and test them. There is no good reason this won't work tonight. This should solve all of the issues. It has been a rather interesting day in CaddX world, for those who don't know. They released these this week, which is their GM series of gimbals. I know nothing about these. I don't have them. I've not tested them. Rather interesting. 3 different versions. you've got the GM1 no camera, which looks really to be like an OEM gimbal more than anything for integrating into aircraft or systems that already have, you know, everything else in place. You then got the GM2, which is your standard dual axis gimbal. Sorry, not 3-axis, dual axis. And then you got your GM3, which is your 3-axis gimbal at $144. But yeah, rather interesting indeed. I do like the scenario that they have shown these with, like on this little radio control car down here. That is quite cool. I like this. This kind of thing is cool. I built the Rover to do stuff like that. I think that's good. It does work with the head tracking feature on the Goggles X, apparently. I can't comment. Haven't tried it. Haven't tested it. Seamless integration with their systems that they're showing you there. So, yeah, quite cool. Quite interesting. It's interesting, actually, that we've seen this is the second gimbal, because the HEQ was the first one, and I did a review on that. It seems that there's interesting gimbals now for FPV style cameras, which is quite interesting. It is in some ways very similar to the HEQ, the way it mounts the camera onto the back of it, but it is a different product. iNav 8 has support to control it via UART. Yeah, I have read that. It was said, Mosca. So that'll be quite cool in iNav. I guess you'll see ArduPilot have some support for it too. It's a nice thing for the community that wants a gimbal. As always with CaddX, there's a lot of renderings. As always with CaddX, there's a lot of fake imagery. I bet you that's a stock image, again, taken from somewhere. It looks very stock-like. CaddX being CaddX. And there is something here in this image that looks like another set of goggles. And I'll be honest, this looks a lot like the Scout HDs from Fatshark. Because the Fatshark do a basic goggle. Do they still do the basic goggle? Let's have a look. Fatshark FPV. So Fatshark still did a basic headset. Recon HD. So this is the Avatar equivalent, isn't it? I've never seen this. I've never tested this at all. But they do the Recon HD. It's not the same goggle. Similar, though. Definitely looks similar. I guess, from this, CaddX are about to release a box goggle. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I've chosen not to be involved in whatever they were releasing next because I won't agree to the terms of their NDA. So as such, I'm not willing to sign it. So I'm not involved. But looking at that, I wasn't told what it was. I would suggest that is a box goggle. It very clearly looks like a box goggle. I guess they've got something new coming around that as well with the gimbals. What I do think's a bit odd is why wouldn't you release this all at the same time? Why? The gimbal isn't really a product that is desperate for getting onto the market. As there appears to be a goggle there, why would you not push that out at the same time or announce it at the same time? A bit weird. Bit weird indeed. But yeah, interesting. So I guess the cynic in me says there's another goggle that will come with features that aren't fully working yet. Anyways, so that is what we've got there. Now, obviously, tonight we're going to be taking a look at these. this isn't a Sunday stream, but I will talk on... I have seen some comments, actually, on what's happening with CaddX with regards to their version 2 system, because they did tell... There was someone on Facebook being a bit dull and trying to, you know, accuse people of not telling the truth, or trying to say, I want facts about what CaddX said. And the facts of the matter were that CaddX told all of the KOLs that they expected the V2 system about mid-year, June, July time. We are mid-year. I don't know anything about it. What I agreed not to sign the NDA on, I don't believe was the V2 system. I'm not aware it's the V2 system. I could be wrong. What I'm not going to do is sell my soul to a company just to get early release. Especially when the NDA is completely unreasonable. But as for the V2 system, I'm not aware of anything right now. There's been no real noise around it that I've seen. I've seen not a single piece of evidence that it's even in existence right now. So we're just going to have to wait and see really what happens. Right, so what we are going to do next is these goggles. Now, if I go to the overhead, I've got myself in the corner as well for tonight. Look at that. So these are the Fatshark Dominator HDs that I bought from Hobby RC in the UK. Faulty. We didn't know what the score was. They were basically appeared to be brand new, but they didn't work properly. In the end, after a crazy amount of work, and I do have a video on this, it's my opinion that the main board is faulty. Now, very kindly, Fatshark have sent me a replacement board. There's a whole host of pain around that, and CaddX said, no, you can't get it. Yes, you can. Sorry, we made an error. But Fatshark have sent me a replacement board. It does have a small broken piece of plastic here in transit, but I'm not worried about that. That'll be absolutely fine. But we do have a full replacement PCB. So what we are going to do is get this installed in the goggles and get them tested. Now, I do want to say a big thank you to the guys at Rotor Riot and Fatshark for sending this over. They reached out to me. I did email them and it took ages to get a reply, and they did apologize about that. But they said, look, due to the things, we're going to send you a board, and they have sent it to me for free. So a big thank you to Rotor Riot and Fatshark. I'll be honest, right? I've only had limited dealings with Rotor Riot. Every time I've dealt with them, I have to say their overall service has been outstanding. I've not ever actually had a product delivered by them other than that, because I ordered a set of these goggles and then I cancelled them because they were then available in the UK, and they refunded my money straight away. I've had messages back and forth with them, and honestly, genuinely, I can't comment in the US because I've never bought from them, but I've not really seen anyone complain. As a store to buy stuff, Fatshark and Rotor Riot, which are now obviously one company, Rotor Riot, I can't complain. They're certainly on top of their game with regards to getting stuff out the door, and just really, I gotta say, fair is fair. They sent it to me really quickly. No complaints. If you're in the US, I would absolutely consider using them as well as I would anyone else. And look, you can get 10% off if you do, and that's not even specific to me. Yes, there are question marks over some of the parent company stuff when it comes to Red Cat and things like that, as I've already talked about. But you have to say as you find, and overall, they have done a great job. And yeah, they sent it over. So no complaints from me. Thank you, guys. I really do appreciate it. Now, let's start tearing these down. I'm not really prepped for this. I need to find my dodgy screwdriver first. When I say my dodgy screwdriver, I have a custom driver for these goggles that is used to remove the awkward screws. And now I've got to find it. So give me a second. I hope everyone is good. I hope... Oh, is that it? Hey, I've got it. Here we go. I hope everyone is good. I hope everyone is doing well. Now, what we're going to do first of all is get the faceplate off. And undo the screws. I hope everyone is good. I hope everyone is well. I'm going to be honest with... Sorry, guys, I'm not 100%. I haven't been 100% for weeks. I seem to be drifting up and down at the moment. And, yeah. I took a bit of a 2 or 3 week break. I decided I needed a bit of a step back. We've had some phenomenal weather in the UK. I haven't flown. I haven't done anything. I've barely been in this room, in this chair. I'll be honest. I needed... James, no, it's on the list for this weekend. You've had rain, have you? No, look, I bench tested it and then life sort of that. Do you know, actually, here's the truth, James. That's the only thing I've looked at. Actually, I haven't flown it, but that is the only thing I've looked at. But yeah, I also had something else arrive yesterday or the day before, which I've opened, but I haven't looked at yet. 50, the 65. But yes, I updated the firmware and look, I've had some stuff going on. I have had some stuff going on that I needed to dealt with, but I also felt I needed to take a bit of step back a minute. Okay, so let's remove the front lid. Now these goggles are fairly easy to work on. I've worked on these goggles so many times. So we're just going to unclip the display cables. We're going to carefully pop that off there. They are the ones, yes. So we now have a not Unmanned Tech, Hobby RC. So we now have a replacement board. Now this isn't going to take long to swap. But what we will have to do is swap the board. And do a couple of little things. Ta-ta! Now this is the board that I did a huge amount of board repair on. If you haven't seen, I have completely reworked this board. I have completely reworked it. And I've got it semi-working, but it's not right. I do now have a better understanding of what the issue was. But we still don't fully understand it. But this is the baddie. So we're going to lose him. And look, as a replacement... it's a fairly straightforward process, which is slide one out and slide one in. I am then going to get myself a little bit of tape because I want to tape down the cable on this time because this is intended to be a permanent install. So we're going to use a little bit of cloth tape on this bottom connector down here to make sure that this is held in place. And then we will get to see if this actually resolves the issues. Actually, I'm going to use this tape. Just replace the LCD in my V2 goggles. The amount of screw plastic. Yeah, the V2 goggle is not a nice product to work on. I have never fully torn down the V2s. I have heard reliably that it is not fun. Not fun at all. The V2 isn't. I did see someone earlier ask any news on O3 support for the Goggles 3. No. Sorry. Yeah. O3 support for the Goggles 3. Yeah, that's right. No. It's basically there. It's just waiting for DJI to release it, is what it is. But we don't have any news, unfortunately. It will happen. Lots of interesting rumours around DJI this week. And before anyone asks, there's no new info on 04. However, it does appear to be the case that DJI is prepping for the release of an Action 5, Mavic 4, A3S, which is interesting, and a bunch of other products. DJI seems to be very close to releases for them. Now, I'm just going to check something with regards to the pinout on these antennas. Actually, I can cheat. I can do it on this one. So, antenna 1 is the third one across. That's fine. I just want to make sure I get the transmitted antenna right, because I don't intend to take these apart again. So yeah, DJI does appear to be getting ready for a big slew of releases. They need to get the new models out before they're banned in the US. Yeah. Tell you what is also interesting is DJI's job listings. They're looking for people to work with the US government on legislative issues. If you go to DJI's website, they're advertising for some rather interesting positions. They're advertising... If you go to DJI Jobs, right? I put this on the desktop. And if you select the country, so we're going to select United States, and we're going to select Washington, D.C. And look at the two things they're advertising for. Public Affairs and Communications Manager, Senior Manager, Federal Government Relations. Now that's an interesting position. Main responsibilities. Implement and manage an effective federal strategy for both legislative and regulatory issues. Rather interesting. Just a tariff, no ban, 25% price hike. Something's got to change for the ban not to happen. Because right now they are in crap street without a paddle, if that legislation doesn't change. Because if the legislation doesn't change, they get banned. But if the document does change, just hiring lobbyists, yeah. Rather interesting, isn't it, when you look at it? Let's go to the overhead. But I just found it interesting when you looked at the jobs that they were advertising. Right, let's plug in that LCD. Just paid 53 quid for an operator ID and insurance. Takes the piss. Yeah, unfortunately. I think we're going to have to wait and see how everything pans out. I was listening to The Rest is Politics podcast in the UK. For those who have that, will know what I mean. They were talking about the Biden thing last night. Yeah, that was a horror show last night, wasn't it? Huh? Oh my gosh. In fact, you would argue that was borderline. Let me just grab a spanner. That was bad. I'll be honest, that was cruelty. That's cruelty. That was not really good. Too bad we got a Cold War to fight. Don't worry, the sheepdogs are keeping you safe. It's there's still not that much of a war going on. The war's in money. It's all a game. Elder abuse. Yeah, you could argue putting someone through that isn't good. You've sometimes got to save someone from themselves, and that's really what should have happened there. But then again, it looks like he got some form of injection today, because if you've watched the his speech today, it's like a different person. So they've clearly pumped him on something today. But yeah, not good, not good. But hey, what do I know? We're in a mess as well. Question: can DJI Goggles 2 and Goggles V2 can they spectate each other? Right. Let me just remember this, James, because there's some quirks. 03 to 03 can. V2, right. 03 to 03, yes. Original FPV system, no. And what I mean by that is this. If you remember, on the Goggles 2 and Integras, you have to put the special firmware on the Vista or air unit. And as a result of doing that, you can't spectate between the two. So I had to think a minute there because there are some quirks to this. So you can spectate. You should be able to spectate FPV drone. You should be able to spectate 03. You won't be able to spectate air unit and Vista. There is also the quirk, the fact that you can't spectate with the Goggles 3 and the Goggles 2 with the Avata. Goggles 2 do work with the Avata 2. Yes, they do. But here's a quirk. Goggles 2 with the Avata cannot use the Goggles 3 to spectate. Goggles 3 with the Avata cannot use the Goggles 2 to spectate. And I mean the Avata 2 there. Because they basically appear to be dropping the Avata 2 into like an O2 mode, an O3 mode, not an O4 mode. I'm a little bit rusty. You can tell it. Yeah, it is. You'll also find it funny as I had a guy on Facebook telling me this week that people shouldn't listen to a word I say because I don't know what I'm talking about. And I was replying to a comment on Facebook quite quickly, and I'll be honest, I'd read it and I interpreted his comment as one thing, and he meant something else. And what people refer to the FPV drone as DJI FPV, and in my head it isn't. The DJI FPV drone is DJI FPV drone. DJI FPV is the standalone system, and this person was asking about RID, and what I said was no, DJI FPV doesn't have RID, even if you update the firmware. Now in my head, I was talking about the air unit Vista and 03, okay. And he comes back and goes, "You're not right. The FPV, the DJI drone FPV does have RID," and I'm like, right, okay, so that's something slightly different. And then he proceeds to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. And then when I commented on another post on Facebook, he then decided to post below it and said, "Don't listen to this guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about," which I found quite funny. I quite enjoyed that. I quite enjoy stuff like that when I'm not going to shy away from the fact that I've probably put out more information on how DJI system works than anyone else. I don't mean that to sound boastful or anything, but it's quite funny. And then you get people sort of saying, "You don't know what you're talking about," and I just find that kind of thing so amusing. It is really funny at times. Right. Okay. So the goggles are reassembled. We've got the antenna ports fitted. We've got the displays on. We differ in slightly specific. Yeah, and I've never. Look, the FPV drone in my eyes is the FPV drone. It's not DJI FPV. You've got, be specific, isn't it? Is the sort of word you want to use. The FPV drone is the FPV drone. Hello, 73 FPV. How are you? You mean people talk shit on Facebook? Yeah. I have actually thought about quitting Facebook. I have thought about quitting. I've actually thought about deleting it and getting on with my life. The only thing is, it is a good place to annoy people. I do like to creep around there, people not really knowing who I am, and I say something and someone says you're wrong, and I go, oh, okay. It's quite funny. 2 screws in. I'm doing the worst case scenario, which is putting the screws in before I've actually tested it's fully working. Reddit is also good for annoying people. But yeah, so it's been for me, I've taken a little bit of time out. I needed a tiny bit of a break. I'm sorry you haven't had much content. Look, there's lots of stuff I would have loved to have talked about. There's lots of stuff I would have liked to have made. I've tried to keep up with the BL Heli thing. I did see JB has put out a how-to guide on AM32. I chose not to do that. I'm not criticizing JB for doing it. JB's done a nice job on it. The reason why I chose not to do it is I don't think it's worth the hassle. If I wanted... Look, and I'm not saying JB's done it for clicks or anything. I don't mean that. JB's put out just the guide he thinks is best to put out. And that's great. That's what he does. JB's amazing at doing that stuff. He's better than me in many ways at that stuff. He is the standard when it comes to putting out sort of tutorial content. And... I just have made a decision in my head that the conversion to AM32 is more hassle than it's worth for most people. And it's going to cause them more problems than it's worth. And for me, the very fact that you can't reverse the process is a bit of a red card. So I just need to get this all clipped back in. Yeah, for me, the fact that you cannot reverse the process is a bit of a... You're pushing people down into a certain way. Now, I've actually recorded flashing one. I actually had recorded the video. Here's the truth, right? I've done so little, I don't actually know what I've got in progress. Let me go in and have a look. I'm a bit out of sorts on things. And so that's finished. That's finished. What was I sitting on? Oh, not a lot. I need to finish that. Okay. Yeah, no. I'm not sitting on that much. That's not right. That front is not on properly. 2 seconds. Let me just correct it. But yeah, I decided to take a little bit of time down. And look, it is a quieter time in FPV as well. So it's been a good time to take a little bit of a break. Some interesting things that have happened. I haven't had a lot turn up, actually. There has been some stuff turn up that I'm not sure I can talk about. Although someone else was talking about it earlier, so he's going to be in trouble. I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say. That's the problem. I haven't asked that question yet. I don't know what I'm allowed to show and what I'm not allowed to show. I haven't asked that question yet. But yeah, there's some really interesting developments in the ESC world. That is nothing new in the sense of it's not completely unseen because there's people have talked about it before, but there's some really cool stuff around the corner. And it's not all going to be about AM32 and it's not all going to be about the existing incumbents. I have had... That's better. It's back together. Yeah, it's back together. Any news on the Flywoo? Yeah, no, I have seen that post. Any news on the Flywoo waterproofing they keep talking about? I've seen this, and I was like, are they talking shit here? Do you know what the only problem is? I've got to this stage, I'm beginning to get a bit frustrated with Flywoo. For those who saw my video the other day, you may have laughed when I had a bunch of stuff turn up from Flywoo. It's all here. And I was showing you the box that the camera doesn't properly fit into. There's two new flight controllers. But I've already had people reach out to me and say there's an issue with the flight controllers in a specific setup. Let me just... Where was that? That was posted, and it's something... The VTX switch doesn't work in a certain setup or something. And it's just like, really, you know, it's constant issues. The box was funny, and what you got was my genuine reaction at the time on that box, because I was just like, okay, plug this in. And it was like, okay, there we go, moving on. And look, it's a crap show, let's be honest. But I do like Flywoo as a brand. They sell some nice stuff. But I've had a lot of complaints about that action camera kit. I've had a lot of complaints now about these flight controllers. And that puts... Look, I'll be honest, my tolerance for bullshit is at an all-time low right now. I'm ready to tell any brand to go fuck themselves if they don't play ball. And I'm just really frustrated at silly, stupid things like that. Like, who needs an action camera box that only takes the action camera when you disassemble it? It's like, for fuck's sake, come on. Okay, so let me just get some batteries. We need some cables, we need some batteries, we need some power, we need some antennas as well. Why conform coating than in fresh water? Yeah, exactly. They are advertising this conformal coating, but I don't know what it's about. Now, I do have a delivery coming next week from someone, and I don't know who it is. It's via FedEx. A few companies ship via FedEx. It could be Flywoo. It could be anyone. I don't know. 2 seconds. I'm just getting antennas. When I find my antenna box. Okay, there's 2 of them, and we will nick 2 of these. Actually, no, we won't. We will use... Where is my antenna box gone again? I don't want to use them because they're long ranges. Let me borrow 2 off the DJ. 2 seconds. Okay. Chrome, did CaddX send you review units of the new gimbals they announced today? No. No. Maybe it's a spray-on one. Yeah, I got a feeling, Gareth, it might be. The Flywoo box will be another thing for the community to fix. Yeah, they are getting a reputation. Just catching down. Let's make sure that's right. Antenna connection. Yes, it is. Okay. Let's put the desk up a little bit so you guys can see. Right, so before we power them up, we're going to put it on a short saver just to make sure that I haven't shorted anything powering it up. Okay, so what we're going to do, Camera's a bit far focused. 2 seconds. Let me... I'm trying to figure out which way I want to focus. There we go. It's a bit better. We were a bit far focused. We were... That's a bit better. Okay, right. Let's power them up first of all. So... Another thing about Flywoo FC, their site now lists as AM32, but seller still lists as BLHeli32. I don't know. Genuinely, I don't know. They ain't going to be shipping BLHeli32 anymore, so if you get one, it's only old stock. Okay, so the goggles are on. Let me just go in and have a look at the device and the firmware info. So we are... Oh my god, that is out of focus. Okay, that's better. 283210. What are we at today? Should we have a look? CaddX FPV. Let's go to CaddX's website and have a look at the firmware. That's been out for 3 months. That is probably still in beta. Yes, I'm having some shades at CaddX today. There you go, look. 37427, still in beta state. They really do need to get their shit together. So, what we are going to need to do is update the firmware on the goggles. So, we're going to do that first of all. Before we get to properly testing, we're going to need the firmware update. That way, we'll know that they are working as expected. So what I'm going to do is put the SD card in, and I'm just going to format it in the goggles first of all. Two seconds. Sorry, my child harassing me. Let me just reply. Okay, so we've just formatted the SD card in the goggles. Let me move my monitor back. And then we will place the firmware on. Let's get that done. We will do an update. Please let me know if you've got any questions, guys, while I'm doing this. I'm going to be quiet for 2 seconds, just whilst I... Avatar ground. Yes, that's what we want. Standard avatar ground. It's weird. That hasn't formatted the SD card. It should have, but it hasn't. I told it to, but it hasn't. Okay, so what we're going to do is the firmware update first of all. So I'm going to press and hold for 10 seconds. And what we should hear is a beep, and then I'll have a look through. Are those Secret Lab chairs worth the money? Absolutely. I had the first one, which wasn't. You probably want to do the kernel update. Yeah, I'll probably do that later. I didn't get a beep. Why didn't I get a beep? Well, that's not right. That's definitely not right. Let me format the SD card again. Right, let's... Settings, record set, format SD card. Do you want to format the SD card? Format SD card. Format SD card. Now what I am going to do is take it actually off the short saver before doing the update this time. Just in case. Let's redo that. Yeah, it's not formatting the SD card. Why is that not formatting the SD card? Can you not format the SD card when there's no VTX connected? That's interesting. Right, let me get a VTX connected first then. Is that a quirk? We're also going to need a fan. So let's get a VTX. Let's get a battery. Let's check what the capacity of the battery is first of all, because it will flatten it if I'm not careful. That's good. Okay. And where's my fan? Because it will overheat in a heartbeat if we don't. Okay, so. Pardon my coughing, guys. I can't help it. I'm going to take it off the short saver now. This is a new SD card. These are brand new ones. These are my brand spanking new ones on the bench. So let's see what happens. This is an older firmware, mine, so there could be a quirk on this that I don't know about. So let's try binding first. Connection. Boom, 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 boom. We have video. We have standby mode. Please update the firmware. Yes, skip. Connect. Record set. Format SD card. Okay. Format VTX. Okay. Format SD. Oh, that's interesting. It's saying no SD in the goggles. That's a good card. Let's try another one, shall we? Oh, it likes that card. That's weird. That's a brand new card. Okay. That one is Alexa, 16 gig. Okay, so let me just get the firmware back on this. Downloads. .42, 42.7 doesn't have the kernel update, does it? If I want the kernel update, I need to go to the previous one that it's included with, if I recall. So 32.45 stable, if I remember. Let me just download that and have a look. Download anyway. I've got these saved somewhere, but it's quicker for me to download them again. Let's just wait for that. There we go. files. Let's have a look. I'm trying to remember if it had. I'm trying to remember if it has the kernel update or not. Okay, let's pop this onto the SD card. Paste. We won't use the beta, we'll use the standard. There we go. Okay, should we try it again? So, let's count to 10. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They've rebooted. I'm just waiting to see what they do. We should now get the slow and smooth beat. That's better. Right, so now we're going to let them... So, there was a Linux kernel update, Auntie, in the earlier firmware where they added a lot of new features. Removed some of the limitations on the SD recording and things like that. Allows you to record without the breaks. And there was a kernel update for the VTX and the... Was it for the goggles as well or not? I can't... I need to check. I can't remember. But yeah, one of them updates the Linux kernel. Yes, it was the Linux kernel because it allowed you to set the time on it as well. But there was an update which had both. So you could choose to update or not update the Linux. You could do one with and one without. I need to remind myself on it. Yeah, both changed to exFAT. It's been a while since I actually looked at it, but I'm trying to remember the version it was in. Ah, hello, Stone FPV. How are you? We're now just letting the update roll through. That'll take a little bit of time. 42.4. So has 42.5 then got the kernel update as standard, and you can't choose not to have it? Is that what they've done now? Because they've removed 32.4 from the website. See, the website only has 37.42.5, 37.42.7, 36.42.4 that had the kernel as an option. So I'm assuming when you go to the later versions, it does the kernel update as standard, I'm guessing. Oh, very nice. Tank S that you built last night. That's cool. Right, I'm just going to unplug this VTX. Yeah, I know. I've gone straight to CaddX's for this one. So the question is, does it automatically update the kernel firmware when you jump to the latest firmware now? It must. There must now not be an option to not update the kernel. I'm guessing, because it wouldn't make sense them not offering you that as part of the official update. Because that would make no sense. It just ships without the kernel update. So basically, CaddX have now withdrawn the kernel update version off their website. That's typical. I'll add it to the list of other issues I have with them. But new stuff from the factory comes with the kernel update. Yeah, that makes sense. It's just all of the stuff that's in the retail chain. And it doesn't mean you can't get it. But, yeah, it's just another, really. So we're just waiting for the firmware to update on the goggles repair. And then I'm going to go for a very little wander, is what I'm going to do, just outside, not far. Because I'll know very quickly if they're working. Ooh, update is complete. The long beep of death. We all like the long beep of death. Is it you? No, it's me. Brandon Beans, I've really been happy. Yeah, look, whatever you say about DJI as a company, as a product, they are light years ahead. And I mean light years ahead of anyone. They are. There's no in between. They are. Some really so much propaganda at the moment going on LinkedIn, right? Oh, it's crazy. I'll talk about that when I come back in a minute, actually. So, I'm just powering back up the VTX. I'm going to put the face mask on the goggles because they're not very good to use without the face mask. I can't range test. I can't fly here. Okay, let me just get myself set up. Check firmware version. No, skip. Okay, so, oh my god, what is this defaulted to? Jesus. Right. So, standby mode on. We're going to leave it on 25 milliwatts. We're on high frame rate mode. Oh, I tell you what, I need to unlock the goggles. Let's do that now. Let me just unlock them. They have come locked down. This unlock procedure is madness, really. I'm not convinced they're FCC certified, let alone need a bloody unlock procedure. If I'm being completely honest with you. I would question the need for an unlock procedure. Just rebooting. We're getting it. We're getting it. We're getting it. James, what would happen if something appeared on screen? Would it be a problem? Right. Okay, so we're unlocked. Let me go into display settings. Turn the debug on so I can just have a quick look. We're going to turn off the viewfinder because it's put the viewfinder on. I have no idea why. Let me just have a look at the debug menu. Why is the debug display not working? Why is debug not working? Anyone know why debug doesn't work? I've not actually debug on. I'm not. Ah, there it is. Sorry, it didn't kick in the first time. Okay, so looking at the antennas, 40. Oh, that is better. All four antennas, 45, 43, 44, 49, 40. Numbers are looking good. Right. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to just wander. I will not be long. What I'm going to do is turn off standby mode. I'm going to go in for... Oh, I need to choose a channel. Wait a minute. Choose channel 1. Boom. I'm in those out. I will be back in 2 seconds. Watch this space. Looking good, 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 good. I can tell you, we are looking fine, looking good. Oh, looking good. We are, my initial tests look fine. I know exactly, I actually live in a stone house. So I know exactly where I can walk with Avatar and hate DJI before the signal starts to drop. I don't have to go far. I can actually go past a certain wall in my house because my walls are like that million thick. And I know exactly where I am. It needs proper testing, but I can get an instant baseline of issues. Looking good. Now, really, this isn't a fix. Let's be honest here. This is a replacement part which solves the problem. This isn't... It shouldn't be a shock that replacing the main PCB has fixed the problem. There really is bugger all else in these goggles that is going to go wrong other than the power board. But what I now need to do is just do some flight tests and stuff like that. But the reality is they should be fine now. So that means the goggles themselves are fixed. This was the faulty board. As I've already said, while I wrap this little bit up, a big thank you to Fatshark for sending me the board. They are the ones that delivered. They are the ones that stepped in and got me one. So I will say a big thank you to those guys for that. I'm going to probably cut this little bit as a separate video. I might bolt on a flight test onto the end of this as a separate video. And that way then people have an understanding of what happened. And then that way they'll have an understanding of what it is. So that's that wrapped up there. All done and dusted. What was I going to say? There was some things I was going to talk about. Can someone remind me? What was it? So you got the CaddX gimbals. I've spoke about that. I have completely forgotten. I am actually... Do you know what? DJI propaganda. DJI propaganda. Yes, there is a lot of propaganda going on LinkedIn about DJI and the West, and it's quite funny. I spoke about this on the live stream, but yeah, there's so much delusion going on about, you know, oh, DJI can't survive without the West as well. DJI, you know, there's an obsession in the US that, you know, we can shut DJI down because, you know, their drones are predominantly made of Western components, and they're just not anymore. They absolutely used to be, and I talked about this on Sunday's stream. You know, they were very tied in with Ambarella. They were very tied in using STM32s, which no one's ever going to stop. But Ambarella was an American company specifically. Da Vinci, they were using FPGAs from AMD and a few other things that really did give them a lot of reliance. About the only real component of risk today with DJI is probably the gyro, which is MEMS isn't something China has really replicated well yet. So if we talk about the gyros we use, whether it's the BMI, China hasn't really got MEMS sorted. So DJI's reliance on the West is probably only now in the gyro. Everything else isn't. Now, does it not mean that they'd have to change their designs if they didn't use certain Western components? For instance, a very big part of what DJI does is based on Texas Instruments power delivery systems, voltage regulators, smart regulators, power management ICs, because TI are basically the gods of this world. It would mean DJI would have to redesign into Chinese equivalents, and that might mean an increased size, less reliability. What it doesn't mean is they can't make the drones. What DJI have really done is separated them off in the key areas. And as someone has rightly said there, the gyros, the BMIs, and the TI stuff is commodity parts. It would be close to impossible to cut off supply. You're just not going to cut off supply of MEMS and voltage regulators. You're just not. It's not going to be possible because they'll just buy it on the black market. They'll just buy it on the open market. Where they'd have had difficulty is if you take Ambarella. So Ambarella were like the #1 chipset maker for action cameras and drones, and Ambarella have actually ended up in quite a down position in recent years. So for those who don't really know, so Ambarella used to make the chipsets that was in the GoPros and the chipsets that was in the DJI drones, the Phantoms, the original Mavic. You had the A9, you had the H2. And this company, at one point, right, was the go-to, okay, for AI vision processing chipsets. They were who you went to go to if you wanted it. GoPro used them, everyone used them. GoPro moved away when GoPro made their own chipset, the GP1, and DJI moved away as well. And I don't really know anymore who uses Ambarella technology, because their image, you know, consumer, if we go into consumer, delivering smart cameras to the masses, their chipsets are just not so common anymore. And you're not seeing them. See, the H2 there was the last one DJI used. And it was, at one point, very common in the early stuff. But DJI will make a big drone that flies from China to drop off smaller illegal drones. They basically already do FPV Avery. It's called Flycart. You could argue that DJI made it for this. They already made it. This thing is DJI Flycart, the DJI drone delivery drone. Wait for it. See, in all of them is your illegal drones coming into the US. You don't need white powder anymore. But now DJI have this thing is absolutely freaking enormous. It is an absolute beast of a thing if you haven't seen it. So in there is 16-kilometer capacity over the border. Did you see the weight payload carrying? Right there. So 30 or 40 kilos depending on the model, because it depends if you have the 2 batteries. It's got a box on the bottom. You can attach a winch. This is why DJI is so far ahead. The gear is just so good. See, there's a box of Mavic 3s being delivered to your local enterprise for use on board ships. They got some nice toys. Immigrant delivery system. Solar panels. And it's got radar as well. They make some nice gear. They really do make some bloody nice gear. Radar. Very nice piece of kit. That is a hell of a battery. That will probably have a bug that kills itself every year. And you can have a parachute system on it. Yeah, they are not cheap. But they do make... It's a hell of a bit of kit. It really is. Hello, Bagzilla. So yeah, I've so really just to give you guys a bit of an update. It's been a bit quieter. I took some time out. I'm behind on a bunch of stuff. There's some stuff I have on the bench which I'm starting to test now, which is really exciting. Some really cool stuff around the corner. What I'll hint at is, whilst we might have seen the end of BL Heli, there's more good stuff to come. Don't worry about that. Got an interesting email today. I don't know if this is released yet. Let me just see. Let me just look if it is. A strange other company making an AM32 ESC, Squire. You know the company that makes soldering irons? They're making an ESC now based on AM32. Do you know what that's about? Seems a bit weird to me. Yeah, bit strange. And yeah, it's been all quiet. I saw JB done his video on AM32 upgrading, as I've said already. I just didn't feel I wanted to put that out there. I'm a little behind on things. There's some stuff I want to go and do. I have had, for those who love 3D printing, I did agree to review this 3 months ago, actually. And if I'm honest, if I'd have been asked today, I wouldn't have. And it's nothing to do with the brand. It's just the way I'm feeling. But I do have the updated version of the Snapmaker Artisan delivered. It's fucking huge. The box, I haven't even opened it yet. The boxes are absolutely enormous. I'm actually looking forward to the CNC on this and trying what that's like. I don't even know if I've got room for it in here. I think it's that big. There is some interesting... It is a quieter time in the FPV and drone world. Creality Ender 4. No, I haven't had... Creality have stopped responding to me. I think they removed me off their KOL list when I called them out about their bullshit on the K1C. I think they removed me from the KOL list then. So be it. Compared to the new FL Sun, it's still small, yeah. Bamboo A1 still the right choice? Absolutely. Was small BS. Yeah, the fact that it had an all-metal extruder when it didn't. You know, that lie they did in their marketing material. And they didn't like being called out about it. I haven't even been asked to take a look at the K2. I haven't seen it. Do you know what? I haven't even seen any reviews. I don't even know if there's any proper reviews out yet. And I'm talking not first look shit, right? Because first look shit is not, look, I get it, but it's not a review, right? There's still not a lot of, there's still not a lot out on the K2, looking at it. Yeah, there's still very little out. What do I think of FlashForge printers? FlashForge was my first printer. My first ever printer was a FlashForge. It was a fucking nightmare, but it was my first ever printer. They're not a brand who have kept up today. I had 2 FlashForges. I wouldn't buy a FlashForge today. As much as I have a bit of a place in my heart for them, I would go and get yourself a Bamboo. It'll have the same K1 teething problems that will turn into root canal. That's the problem, Solo. Yeah. The K1 series is okay. It's not a terrible printer. And actually, it was quite interesting. There was a guy talking about this on Facebook the other day. He'd bought 3 K1s. And he was offering them for sale. And he said, I'm not happy with the additional work they're going to cause me. I want to replace them with Bamboos. What money am I going to get for them? And he just bought them. And I did say, you know, he's running a 3D printing business. And I did think, look, you're never going to recover that loss. As more reliable as the Bamboo is, as a business, to recover the loss, you know, the K1s aren't unreliable in the sense of they're not going to work. They're just not as turnkey as the Bamboo. And here's a great example, actually. I fired at the P1S today. I haven't even printed for a few weeks, okay? I haven't used the P1S for ages. It's just sat there, filament in it, nothing, just untouched. It's there in the background. Look, it's there, it's open, just left it. And I needed to print a bracket for a security camera. Downloaded it, sent it via the slicer, hit print. It was perfect. That's what I love about the Bamboo printers. Is I can ignore it and sit there. And I do feel for my poor Mark 3S Plus over there, which I'm now looking at, which is there. You guys can't see it, but, you know, what you guys can't see. Okay, so there is the P1S, which is my go-to printer, if I'm honest, right? It's almost my go-to above the X1 Carbon. The X1's there. You can't see it, but it lives there. And then next to it is the K1C. Next to that is my Prusa. There's the Q1 behind me, which I haven't used really since the review. The X1 is over there in the corner with another 2 Crealities. So when I'm printing, I actually print quite a lot at times and then I don't. And I'll be honest, as much as I love the X1, the P1, I just have it. It's just such a good print. Genuinely, the P1S is just such a good printer. Now, the X1 might be a better printer. I'm not saying it isn't. There's a set of FPV goggles inside it in pieces. I use it as a storage, but I tore a set of goggles down and I need to put them back together. I'm going to do that off stream in a minute. And it's just the P1 is almost as good. And what more do you want? But I don't rush out to update the firmware on my printers. I haven't updated the slicer. I keep it, when it works, I like to keep it all the same and working and everything like that. The A1 Mini is covered in stuff, but it does get used. It's just covered in stuff at the moment. There's a lot of 3D printers in this room. Too many. Too many. I'm probably the Quid EQ1. As I said, I gave it a mixed review. It's a nice printer, but it's not the others. It's just not the others. That's the thing with it. Yeah, there's a pair of the CaddX goggles there that I was gonna make. It's a set of Goggles X with the modified heatsink, and I tore it down to make a video on it, and I sort of stopped doing stuff, and I'll be honest, I'm a bit annoyed and fed up with CaddX at the moment, and I just don't know, do I want to go down the road of, I need to finish it. I just lost my mojo a little. The problem with stopping making content is this: when you stop making content, you actually get out of the habit of it. When I'm in it, and you're rolling, it becomes very quick and easy. But when you stop, you actually do lose your mojo a little bit. It's surprising. And now you sort of go, ooh, it takes a bit of getting going again. It really does. But no, so it's a quiet time in FPV, which is good. It is good. Really, it's a time of waiting to see what happens. You know, we're waiting for DJI to release the updates for the Goggles 2 and Integra. We're waiting... sorry. We're waiting for DJI to release the updates for the Goggles 3. We're waiting for CaddX to get off their bottom and actually make a version 2, which they've promised. They've released these gimbals. I don't know much about them. Perhaps they'll get them here next week and I'll start taking a look at them. There's a lot of exciting stuff around, you know, in the ESC world and stuff like that. Someone said they're waiting for 04. I don't know if we're going to see 04 this year. Genuinely, I just don't know if we will. There's no hints of 04 yet, standalone. No hints of it at all. What we, you know, the hints are around things like Avata 2 Mini, Mavic 4, Action 5, things like that. There's nothing. We might not see an 04 standalone this year. DJI seem less in a rush to transition into the new chipset than I thought. Aside from a picture of a quad with 2 huge antennas, there is nothing. Yeah, there's not really... It tries to get off the table. Yeah, there's not really... I think the industry's hit a bit of a slowdown, a plateau at the moment. It seems to have. It's not quite running as it was. You know, even figure like a Radio Master. Like this time last year, how many Radio Master products had we discussed on the channel? Even, you know, the likes of Radio Master. I know Jumper have got their T14. That was meant to come. That never arrived. It's a quieter time overall. It feels like everyone has slowed a little bit. It really does. It's going to be interesting to see. You know, there is stuff around the corner. You know, iFlight are meant to have a new set of analog goggles come in. Don't know much about them other than that. Could we see... We got something new clearly from CaddX come in. A new set of goggles from the look of it, from that picture. Probably, I guess, they're going to be low end, is what I would guess looking at that image. You know, if we go to CaddX's website, you know, that's clearly something, right, they tried to hide. Should we open it in Photoshop? Let me just open the image. PWM receivers with gyros. Yeah, that's nice. Let's just get this to open a minute. It's slow because I'm streaming. And it's Adobe. And we all know Adobe are complete and utter wankers that we all hate. And I would love to tell them to go absolutely suck my balls. But I need their software. And they literally have me by the balls. Okay, so fuck off. Image adjustments. The inversion hasn't told us much. We clearly have something there. So there's definitely that is without doubt a set of goggles. You know, there's a vent on the side. Looks like a strap mount there. It's definitely a set of goggles. Yeah, I do like the gimbal on the race car. I think that's quite cool. Very boxy. Yeah. They do look more like the Cobras and things like that. Clearly, though, a set of goggles. That'll be a subject for the Sunday live stream, for sure. Gimbal on the car's cool. But you're gonna find it a little bit quieter. It looks like a box goggle. That's what it looks like to me. Thought you had a stroke. Hello, Captain Bry. How are you? It looks like a box goggle, style goggle. Looks something similar in size to. Looks like those HDZero box goggles. Yeah, similar. A bit like the Recon. A bit like the. They're a bit boxier than the Fatshark equivalent. But, you know, they're definitely something. Quite deep. Quite interesting to see what they've done. I'd be interested to see how much they've ripped off what was inside the Fatshark equivalent. Yeah, maybe they'll be budget. I would expect that to be budget. FP Avery. I wouldn't expect it to be anything else. But no, look, as I said earlier in the stream, for those who went on, I'm not involved in these launches. Look, I spoke about this on Sunday's live stream a little bit. CaddX asked me to be involved in some upcoming products, which I don't know what they are, and I won't agree to their NDA. Their NDA is too far, massively overreaching, massively too far wide-ranging, with clauses and stipulations that I can simply not agree to. One of the agreements in it is that you agree to pay them $100,000 if you're in breach of the NDA, which I'm not committing to that. But furthermore, the NDA was very far wide and reaching. And what it basically said is this. Anything, if I was, anything I had to, by agreeing to it, keep secret. Anything I was told, given, or basically acquired through CaddX, which is deemed to be trade secrets, proprietary information, business information, and anything that could affect their business. And the way I interpreted this NDA is this. So let's say they sent me these goggles for review. And in that review, I tore them down and I showed you, how the board works. I've potentially shared proprietary information, and I'm then liable for breach of that NDA and could owe them $100,000. So I'm not going to sign an NDA that risks my ability to make the content that I write. And what was worse than that, the way the NDA is written, is that I have, by agreeing to the NDA, you have to also actively protect their secrets. So that would imply if someone else leaked something, I couldn't talk about it either. And it was just so far and wide-ranging, I just said, sorry, I'm not willing to sign that. And if that means I don't ever work with them again, so be it. I don't work with DJI. If I don't work with CaddX, okay, tough shit. I'll just buy it when it comes out. I'm not beholden to any manufacturer, and I will not have a manufacturer dictate to me how it works. Now, I've signed a lot of NDAs over the years, and NDAs are fine if they're specific and time-bound and very much in the direction of what you want to do. So, for instance, an NDA which is you can't talk about this product until we have publicly released it. You can't share any information about this product until that time. And that's okay. I've signed loads of NDAs. But this NDA basically would mean I would be under a blanket restriction with them at all times. And again, I would have to pay them $100,000 if I didn't agree. And I just think it's bullshit. And I'll go as far as saying, I know it's the same NDA they've handed out to their testers. And I can tell you guys now, don't fucking sign that piece of paper. Don't. Do not let these companies get away with that behavior. Tell them that. No, not signing that. Unless people say no, nothing will change. And if that means I'm not involved in a launch, then so be it. My own integrity comes above pleasing a brand. Always has done and always will do. And what is important is for me to be able to sit here and tell you guys, A, what the product is, B, how it works, C, about the things that the manufacturer has done that they may want you to know about, but more importantly, the things the manufacturer have done that they might not want you to talk about, and then give you an opinion on how it works, give you the information you need to make an informed decision, with then some of my own personal opinion laced in. Because that's what I do on this channel. And I'm not signing a sheet of paper that will restrict me from doing that. You know, and that's the fact of the matter. Just reading down the chat. Mr. Really, yo. I'm not reading that comment, but I think you might have won the comment section tonight. It's hard to leak something when it doesn't work properly. Yeah, and that's true. It's not like you can't leak anything because you don't know anything about how because it doesn't work. That's actually very funny and accurate. But yeah, right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this one up. I want to say a big thank you for spending time with me. We will be back Sunday night. Don't worry. Back to normal Sunday night. I might have a bit more energy. I'm tired. I'm not very well. You can probably hear it in my voice. I'm coughing. If I haven't succumbed to the evils of man flu by the end of the weekend, We will be back Sunday night. Look after yourself, stay safe, and I will speak to you guys soon. Later. Oh, bugger. 2 buttons.